Yeah, and I think all the speakers were really strong. Um, and I went in, I was still hopeful going into it that either Chris or David or Tom was going to change their minds and change the vote in the other way. And then I couldn't believe that it ended up the way that it did, but I do think so. I think I totally agree. It was kind of magical in the way the whole thing took place, where it started off very tenuous and, a lot of emotions, and then people got on the same page as the meeting went along. So we have the group email address that all of us have access to, and we get a lot of email that comes to all of us, the council members, and to Chris. And so far, everything's been positive. Occasionally you'll have a negative comment on it, but for the most part, it feels very positive. And then we just need to move on to actually getting it painted and where we go from there. And also next steps. A mural isn't going to solve all the problems of the town, so what are we going to do next? From the Social Action Committee, they did a Facebook post that had a little update, which might be what you're referring to as well, where they're going to have a sign up and have a schedule and things like that. So I do think it's important to encourage different people to come out. And I agree. I think it can be a very meaningful event and bring more people downtown than are typically there, and people that are there for a different purpose than usual. So yeah, I mean, whether it's here or Washington, D.C., the gentrification is so visual, and I think I grew up here, and I can remember that same time period. I was born in the 80s. I remember my childhood, those streets being mainly Black. And then, as I got to the point in college, going to parties and things like that, and then moving back to town after college, friends starting to buy houses along Cannon Street and renovating them, and it moving further, out of town. And it's a very different street than it was in my childhood. Yeah. So after the meeting, Chris and I texted a little bit, and it was the same type of thing. I just kept saying, I think we made the right decision, and he did too. And I think, I understand their points and the legality of it, but I think some of the points that came up in the meeting, are very make it glaringly apparent that there is a racial issue here, and we're looking at it in a different lens than we would if it was the Tea Party or restaurants or businesses trying to succeed downtown. And I think that some of the points, it makes it click in different ways in different people's minds. And I know that everybody does care, and it was just a struggle on some level on the spectrum of it. So talked to Els a little bit, but not a lot. I think each of us has an idea of what we want to do moving forward, and I think we'll need to work through it together. I do think, and Tom pointed this out, that I think we need to work together more, as we're going into these types of things. I feel like this was really divisive, and I don't like how much it split all of us, because for the most part, we all agree in a lot of ways. And I think we also get, people are like, the town. We all care, otherwise we wouldn't have run. And it's a strange time. And you also have COVID, where you have people are at home, whereas right now it would be typically like vacation, summertime, whatever, and people aren't paying as much attention to this type of thing. Everybody's glued on social media. You have people who never would have done a Zoom meeting previous to this, or, maybe never even FaceTimed anybody. Right. And so people are getting more tech savvy, and then it makes the meetings easier to attend. It gives people more of a voice. I think a lot of people have criticisms, but what we really need are people's ideas and commitment to whatever it is that they're interested in. The town's resources are limited, but we do have a ton of active people living in this town that want to participate and want to improve on things. So if we can focus more on what it is we're going to do instead of a criticism of the way it is right now, I just think there's a ton of opportunity, whether it's the Ajax Park and the town working with a volunteer group to update that. We've had some other complaints about, I live close to the middle school, and the park there is being used more heavily than I think it has been in the past. And I think you have things like the dog park, where there's a group of volunteers that go and clean that up and, take care of it. We can have that same type of thing, and if people are passionate about a specific area of town, let's get engaged and do something about it.